start streaming, and then X. Yeah, I was going to do it if nobody showed up because I need to go through the loop, CI/CD stuff. Let's see here. Yeah, we're on. And broadcast.
All right.
Okie dokie. Let me I gotta do the hello thing. Hang on one second. Hello thing.
Okay, why don't you do a hello thing?
I love the hello thing. Spent almost 10, 15 minutes on this. Okay, hello. I'm Daniel Martin. This is the roundup. Once a week, we get together, talk about articles from a tech viewpoint, practices of programming. If you were interested in coming by, you'll see a duck soon. You must scan the duck to become a member of the club. If you're interested in seeing my writings, dbmarkham.com. And today we've got Tim Ottinger. Hey, Mr. Tim, how is it going, sir?
Oh, it's going pretty well. So it's a lovely day, the bit of rain in Edinburgh, Scotland.
It is not 6 o'clock here. You asked me if it was at 6.
And it is 6 o'clock here.
Yeah, we're going to get back to this world being round again thing. Could be a problem. Okay. So you're still insisting that the world is round. I just want to get that out there.
Yeah. I've so far been firmly holding to the conspiracy theory that the world is actually a spheroid.
Oh, yes, that's actually quite a good one. Yes, I've heard that as well. But I don't believe it. Don't believe everything you hear, Tim. So what have you been up to this past week?
Oh, well, I've been doing a lot of playing. I'm trying to get things set up so I can start recording my own podcasts. I've got a couple ideas in the can, video rather, not podcast.
Okay.
So I did a quick live stream with Fortune Elkins, and I've recorded some video with Brian Beecham, and we're probably those are going to be separate things probably for now, but people keep asking, and
there you go.
I'm officially an unemployed person today.
I thought you're no. Oh, that's right. That's we prefer the word retired. That's
no, I am not. No, I'm looking for the next one. I'm looking for full time. So.
I wish you the best. So just a word of wisdom as far as the recording goes. James and I went down this path where we bought software to record videos, and we recorded the video, and then we did the post production and published it, and that was fun. It was probably gave you more control, but it was hecka long. It was a lot. It was a slog. Might spend half a day doing it. I switched from that over to OBS Broadcaster. I'll see if I can bring it down here and show you. And I guess the metaphor it uses is you control your own TV station. And so you turn the stuff on, you've got different scenes, you've got different cams, I've got buttons here, and it's just live, and then whatever you do, you do. And you can do just the same effects. I guess if you get really good, you don't do the stuff as badly as I do it. But yes, it's not a, hang on, yeah, turn pink. Come back. Okay, yeah, it's not a panacea, but you don't really need, James is doing training videos with 3D graphics and all that stuff. It's just easier to use it real time than it was to post-prod. I love to do the stuff using the Adobe Premiere or whatever, but it's just, oh my gosh, the workflow was too long for me.
I don't like to spend money, and that's a thing for me. I played with StreamYard, and I could see paying for that one. I've done OBS quite a lot for, I'd have Zoom meetings, and I would do trainings with effects, so I could, my picture shifting into the corners and jumping around and various things. But I don't know quite how to set it up for streaming and how to bring the guest videos in. Am I just in as a separate screen or am I in as a something else?
Well, actually, the way I have this flow here is I am shooting from a nice DSLR camera, not actually it's a mirrorless camera, and that's going to a USB capture card, which is going into my computer. And I've got a program called XSplit VCam, which I paid for. This is the only one I paid for. You don't have to use this, but it seems to work better. An XSplit actually takes my camera and gives you this nice, takes out the background for you. And so I found it actually does a better job of taking the background out than OBS does. So I'm just using that. And then from there, I go to OBS and I use that as a source. See, and then, yeah. So then I've got here, can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay,
Now my window itself is that a different screen? Is that a different monitor?
Yes, it is. I've got two monitors here. Yeah, so
Okay.
basically on the left here, I've got all my scenes, and it's scene, roundup, start, default background, scratch pad, and coding. And you can do, I have yet to run anything I could not do with OBS. But then when you set up a scene, you add a source, and the source is right here in this middle box here. And then here you see I have the Discord roundup channel, so that is hooked into your Discord video.
Nice.
So if I right
I
click,
might have to do something because back when I was doing this in the US, I had a big green screen behind me. It's a rail in the ceiling.
Yes.
It's a curved screen.
yes.
And so it was very easy for OBS to separate me from my background. And now I don't have that. I tried to put one up, but it was not easy here. And I can't modify the building. I'm a renter.
Well, I have, actually I have a green screen and it's, the dang wrinkles drive me nuts. Let me turn this off here. Yeah, you can see here. That's what it actually looks like. But then I use this XSplit VCam, which I think was lifetime license for $40 maybe. And I do it like this, and it takes whatever it is out, and I'm like, awesome.
Yeah, not just the green screen, but everything else.
Everything, I know. See, that what I was doing before is I had to frame it just exactly the right way, and I'd end up doing it was a pain, and I just rather use this to do it automatically and come back over here. But a lot of this stuff you learn kind of the hard way. So here's all your sources. And
Yep,
I
got that.
Yeah, I've got a clock, for instance, that gives you the time, which is kind of cool. Basically, as I understand it, everything's a web overlay. So if you know JavaScript, HTML, it's all just kind of built in.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm free to go mess with things.
So my two things I'll answer your question. So there's a virtual camera here on the right.
Mm-hmm.
So I turn that on, and then I have it as a source to use to send back to you in Discord.
Okay.
And I've got the recording button here, and that just, of course, makes a MKV file. And then I've got the streaming button, which is sending it up to X right now.
Yeah, the other problem I had with OBS, and maybe we could talk about it at some point, if I put up a code sample on my screen and then shared it, either, just shared it outright or as a background.
A what?
It blurred. It pixelated and blurred the source code, so nobody could actually read what I was doing.
See, I've got a coding page here. Go down here, click the coding page. And, oh dang. So I need to reconnect it. Go to Visual Studio, right click, go properties, and find the window. There it is. There. Yeah. So, and so that's
a
just
little hard to read.
That's the default font size. So I'll go over here and actually make the font bigger. So I had to sort of do a trade-off. There you go. You should be able to read that.
Yeah, that's readable.
Yeah, it's a big trick. See, I like the font 11, 12 point so I can get a lot of code on the screen, but it just doesn't translate very well.
Yeah.
And
I see that you've learned, just like I have, that the white background broadcasts so much better, and in dark mode, it just disappears.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know how. Let me try something. Can you read that?
It's a struggle. I would probably have to move it into my larger screen and blow it up.
So that's right at the edge then, as we're at. So I try to make it a little bigger than I think will work, and that was another hard lesson. Learned. Yeah.
Well, I'll probably mess with mine this week and see if I can't get it somewhere.
Yeah, happy to help. James has been in it longer than I have, but I don't know what he's been doing with it lately. I went over to XSplit Broadcaster, which is the thing I paid $100 for. And I paid like 50 for this camera thing I showed you, and another 50 for the broadcaster software, Extreme XSplit. But I was using that for a long time because it was commercial, and I felt like, well, it's commercial, it has to be better. And I realized, sadly, that while it kind of stayed the same, all the nerds were over in OBS making a bunch of extensions. So I kind of missed the boat on that, came back over here. But it's pretty similar, not very
What's
very
the
difficult.
name of your what's the name of your green screener again?
Oh, back on the thing. Okay, so I have got well, I don't have a green screen. I just have the camera. So I've called it USB
That's
HDMI.
giving you that's erasing your background for you.
Oh, that's the XSplit, whatever dude.
Okay, that is XSplit.
One moment,
okay.
Please. XSplit VCam.
Okay.
And if I remember correctly, they even had like a free option. So, I mean, it was not bad. I actually started off with some streaming websites as well. I think I used Livestream. But I found with the fiber connection and OBS, I don't really need it. Video is a whole thing, my friend. I mean, so like you shoot video, I'm shooting, I think, in 4K on this camera, down scoping to like HD, which is 2K, for this broadcast. But then when I publish it like on YouTube or whatever, the service actually makes 3 or 4 different versions, different scales and resolutions. It's the way Netflix does it as well. And so real time, when you ask for the video from the server, it goes back and figures out which one of those versions to use. And that's a whole web standard. And I actually looked into self-hosting the whole thing. And it was like, oh my God. I probably could do it, but why? Why? Life is short, my friend. So yeah, I like that.
Thank you. Well, thanks for breaking the first rule of podcasting and vlogging, that you're not supposed to talk about podcasting and vlogging.
Yeah, well, we're not podcasting. If this is a podcast, it is, and I say this with all humility, it's the worst podcast in the entire universe. There's nothing to buy. We have no commercial advertisers. It's I just consider it open.
The worst podcast on earth.
I like that. I would go with that. I used the roundup because it was kind of funny. I could put cowboys in. I've been doing this 5 years, 6 years, quite a while.
Well, they say if you don't want to feature or fix it, feature it. So,
Well, yeah, it's funny because we started doing this. It was James and Bob and some other, John, other people. And James would actually, I'm going to tell a story on him, would read, he would like, okay, what kind of questions are we going to go over for these articles we have? I'm like, I'm not really sure I read the articles. And he was taking it very seriously as if we were doing an online training, which is fine, but that's really not the point. We're just kind of kicking around the shop some, this cook talk.
So I'm actually going to be like pretending to be a chat TIM, and I'm going to try to speak like I have authority and knowledge and about things that I don't know about today.
Ooh. Well, there you go. Yeah, I had a friend that used to introduce
me. I'll apologize profusely.
Yeah. Oh, you're awesome. Yeah, I learned something last week. I learned something very important, and that is what a genius I am. every idea I had, awesome, encouraging. It was just, I couldn't come up with a bad idea. It was amazing.
Yeah. By the way, I should share there's a crazy article. I haven't been online much today. I've not been particularly well, so I was taking a day off for bad movies. But I did see that, I hate it when I know a name and I can't think of it. Wardley.
Wardley. Oh yes, Wardley. He does the story maps.
I think Wardley.
No,
Did you see the one about he had it give him a no hormone diet plan from which he could grow into 112. He'd live to be 112 years old and become a very fit young woman. He also did one to grow dragon wings and elf ears. And of course, ChatGPT gave it a very authoritative plan with all of the nutrition facts that he needs and the references to all the papers that supported it.
I continue to find AI tragically funny. It's the funniest thing that's happened on the internet. It's just it's like having your own corporation full of yes men that are all like super smart in one little area and know nothing else about anything else in the universe. It's like, yes.
Well, that's the trouble sometimes with smart people with no experience is they tend to make stuff up if they don't know.
Yeah, and you don't know. You don't know that they're not telling you. One of the games I play with my children is whatever question they ask, I will answer. And they have to figure out whether or not I'm just making it up on the fly or not. And they're getting a little better. The purpose is to teach them critical listening skills. Also, you can't trust dad for anything, which is both of those work out fine. But yeah, let's do this. Since we started on AI, let me do this Grok stuff real quick. I don't have maybe 5 or 10 minutes, but I do want to go over it. Went back at Grok again, and as I said in the code room, I didn't feel it was right to give up. It would look cool, and I would be like, oh, wow, I had fun talking to the guys. They look really cool. I could go and do something else. Like, no. That's not a project. That's not value. That's just look cool, had fun playing around.
That's a value.
Yeah, well, yeah, you know what I'm saying, right? The purpose of the exercise was to testable external behavior. And so if you go to anybody's watching, you go to the repository. There's a CodeBots, actually .text in the repository, which keeps track of the things I do back and forth. And I did a kind of a hard reset. And long story short, I started off with oh my gosh, it was like a 7-8 pair. Yeah, it was like I did sections. It was like an 8-paragraph spec for Grok. I'm like, okay, Grok, I'm going to tell you exactly, make this Word document, exactly what I want you to do for the system. First of all, it's funny because once you start typing this Word doc, it becomes an essay. So anything's possible in an essay. You just sort of type it in. It did the big essay. It said, oh, wow, what an amazing idea, Daniel. That's wonderful. I can do this. And it spit out some code, and it did not run at all. Didn't compile, didn't run. And Grok, it's not actually compiling. Oh, well, wow, you're absolutely right. And so I went through this thing for about 3 hours, I think. Round and round she goes. I finally got it compiling, and I reached the point where the options, we talked about this last week, the hyphenate options were escaping the script, and we needed to use double hyphens. And I'm like, that was 3 hours just to get back to where I was last week. And I'm like, that hurt. That hurt a lot.
There's a funny illusion, by the way. Every once in a while, you'll give the coding tool a task, right? Mm. And you would have probably had to spend an hour and a half retyping things and double checking your editing and, rerunning the tests and editing the next little bit. And it probably would have taken you a little while. And the coding tool, the agent, does it in, 3 minutes. Yeah. And you think, wow, I am 10 times more productive. But then the next thing you go to, you end up spending like an hour and a half trying to talk it into do something that you could have done in 5 minutes.
Yes.
And I think that we only remember those moments when we were surprised by how good it did some little job. And then we don't remember the time that we spent forever trying to get it to do the right thing, or when we had to revert it because it screwed up the code base and just couldn't go forward at all.
For you statistical nerds out there, selection bias. So sometimes you have a negative version. I had a bad dream and this bad thing happened. Well, you probably have bad dreams once a month or whatever. It's just at one time you had a bad dream and the thing happened afterwards. In this case, something good there was something good on the screen. Oh, wow, I'll do that again and see something else good. But it's not related to the end of the project. It's related to interacting that moment with the thing. Yeah, one of the things here, it is kind of interesting, is the .NET compiler here. I've got the script up. See, it gives me a squiggly here because it can't find the namespace. So the compiler actually does a token search at a deeper level than Grok does. And so the compiler, the language server LSP, the language server program
protocol.
Protocol will actually throw some errors that Grok doesn't spot. Now, so I'm looking at a squiggle going, man, do I tell Grok now? It's like having a kid, Christmas is coming. It's like, do I tell Grok now or just kind of get this other problem? Or do I just give it a list of problems? And you'll ask Grok a simple question. It'll redesign whatever the system is around the thing you ask. It's like, oh, geez, what, I ask for an array of tests And it actually named one called 15 test case one. It's like, that is not an array. That's a bunch of different variables that you made. It's like, yeah. So to your point, even when it does run, and even when it's fast, do you really know what it's doing? And is it really doing what you wanted it to do? I'm either going to continue down this path and get the stupid hyphens working, or I'm going to start over again. And my goal is very simple. I want a conversational loop where put a test in, test fails, Grok fixes the test. That's it. And I thought I could go jump ahead to like actually having to be a command line program, but that's looking like that might be just too much for a little Grok to handle. So we'll see. We will see.
Yep. By the way, micro commits are your best friend.
Yes. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Appreciate that advice. I've got prompted by prompt there. So back over to default background. There we go. So what we got here? First one is the vanishing stars. By the way, Tim, if you want to talk about something else, just there are no rules here. So
I might. Who knows?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm an extemporaneous kind of guy.
I feel like I should mention some new topic every so often. other because if we don't, like we'll be an hour in talking about unsigned integers. And I know people really love that stuff, but not everybody loves unsigned integers.
Well, already I've thrown in the article where he was told where he gave him a diet to evolve him to a
cool
112-year-old, very young, fit woman, and the other one about OBS. So I've already taken us off of the track at least twice.
Good deal. This makes me happy. And I've got here's the chat window coming up. Oh, there we go. NAM. Okay. Well, I guess this is Zachary Blessing. Is that correct? No, it's not. Where did you post this at? Do you general or did you actually post a link here?
I didn't post one.
Okay. Well, yeah, if you got a link for that, it's fine.
I'm looking for it. When I find it, you have the link.
Good deal. One of the things I want to talk about was this vanishing stars thing, because they don't talk about this enough, and it's just dang interesting. So they have been shooting pictures of the stars for over 100 years now. Astrophotography. Used to make them in big plates and take pictures of them. It was somebody had the idea, what if we just compare all the plates, everything? Because we've got the technology now. We can actually go compare the same sky over, all throughout history. And so they started doing it, and some stars would disappear. And so this lady here is studying disappearing stars. And she may be like a UFO person, don't know, but it's still a very interesting question. I imagine some would be obscured by planets or clouds, but over 100 years is kind of weird. There's a good story in there somewhere, I think.
Yeah. You do wonder what occluded it, and
yeah, and if it came back,
maybe some are only visible from sometimes. Maybe there's something else going on.
Maybe there's something else going on. Maybe there's could be asteroids in the Oort cloud are blocking the stars. I mean, there's just every answer is interesting, no matter how you go down this list. So it's bears watching.
Maybe even if it's just only at the instance the camera shutter was dropping.
It's still how did it do that? Well, why would it do that? Doesn't. No, and the thing is, nobody thought about using the plates for all the night sky for 100 years. Nobody ever said, "Oh, just compile them all and do a cross-reference," because we really didn't have the technology up to about 10 years ago.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah, we did that. We did the Grok vibe coding. Oh yeah, there was an HN article. Yeah. And I admit I did not read this.
I can paste that link. I found the link.
Ah, okay.
So you will see that in just a moment. I will put that in general. No, I guess they should put that. Is there a good place for the
Eyeball science sounds about right with all the
artificial intelligence?
Yes, that is also very good. Yes, and that will ask you to do a title for it.
Oh, it probably will. It does that kind of.
Yeah. When you set them up, you can actually say, I want to really have a title and a tag or not, just free form.
Oh, well, let me try that again. I'll drop it in there. New post. There we go with the title.
Okay, I will go there in a second. Okay, new post. Here it is. I did not see that. Where'd you put it at? Artificial intelligence?
So if you take a look in artificial intelligence,
Okay, I'm right here.
it's how to morph into a different being.
I think not here yet.
Oh, that's odd. So it has been, as far as my side is concerned, it has been sent.
Oh well, what is it they call this? Synchronized eventually in database. A database concurrency
Right,
issue.
yeah. Eventual consistency.
Eventual consistency, and that's related to the.
Eventually be there.
What is that acronym? Acid arc zero something. You know what I'm talking about? There's a database theorem that says you can't have everything you want, and I just skipped out of my mind now. I don't remember. It's first they should just say you can't have everything you want, but no, it's like very nerdy. Yeah,
well, I think that's also a Rolling Stones motto.
That's a great song, by the way. Really good song.
Yes, it is.
I gotta ask. Database consistency theorem.
Yeah.
CAP. It's the CAP theorem.
Ooh. Yeah, I may have to go read that now.
Consistency, availability, and partition tolerance. Pick some you want. And so that's the reason that you have to wait for your AI or get it. So I think this is the last, maybe. Yeah, last article. Then we'll go back, use the one you clicked. This is, all right, so this guy said, really, you should look at how much mental effort the programmer has to use to do maintenance and programming, which is one of those completely obvious things that you can say. And I think it's finally getting traction because people are getting familiar with tokens and contexts in the AI sense, and now they're trying to realize, oh gosh, I'm doing the same thing when I'm looking at a new piece of code. I'm trying to divide the symbols and which symbols relate to which ones, and so he's just talking about, hey, it's cognitive load, which I think that's awesome. Matter of fact, I think it's so awesome. I wrote the frickin' article 10 years ago. And you dummy faces did not listen to me. Yes, for the love of all that's holy, UCCL, code control complexity, and your system's code complexity level. That was from, well, this one's, I published this, republished in 2021. This is in book 2. So I got a bunch of studies. But I'm glad they caught up. I love you guys. Where you are.
There is another article, by the way, I pasted underneath your link. And it's also from 2021. So that's a pretty good year for this topic. I had gotten, there's a whole story with this, and I don't know if you want the story. But I had gotten to talk to the people at Sonar Source because someone on some social media had said, oh, linters just need to die. They're terrible. They prevent effective coding. And I'm like, I don't know what you mean. How is that not an effective tool?
What's wrong with lint? Yeah,
what's going on?
It's programmable. Lint, you make it do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. See what kind of problems you have. Oh, well, Sonar lint needs to die in a fire. And it's like, really? I use the Sonar lint in my IDEs. Now they've renamed it Sonar Cube for IDE or something like that. I don't like the rename. But anyway, I got to talking to the people there because, they were talking about developer relations and how to better express, the ideas that we share in common. And anyway, I got to talk to Ann quite a bit. So Ann Campbell is the community manager, which is why she reached out to me after I supported her publicly. Okay. And I'm still glad to do so. But she had written, with her group team, they had written a cognitive complexity PDF, and you can have the PDF. It's free. It's
4 years ago.
I already have a copy. You could probably have a copy. Is there a link to it? I think there is.
Well, we don't have time to deep dive. This is a 45-minute video. But
Okay.
something.
Well, anyway, it's very similar to things you were talking about, and it
Yes.
shows examples of things that have the same cyclomatic complexity, but one is significantly harder to read than the other.
So I will
And I
give
thought
you
you would
the
enjoy
long and
that.
short of my. I agree, but what I found when I went through this, and some people had hit this before, was there was I want to say happy talk. There was talk about how you have to understand the code, but nobody actually said how do you measure that.
Right.
And my point was now with our modern IDEs, I can actually go through and see how much the programmer is having to look up. I can also see how much the compiler's dealing with that could have been changed as part of the source code, not part of a library somewhere. And that's actually a hard metric that I could actually program into an IDE. It would give me a code complexity level that it's not related to whether, because this guy really, he says, if you're a new programmer, no, bullshit. It's everybody. It doesn't, you don't become super duper guy who knows all about the problem domain. And if you did, you walk away, come back from vacation, you're not that guy anymore. So it's like, there's no perfection that you must achieve. So it's all relative.
Yeah, there's a whole thing that we dug into with readability of code because a lot of people think that there's a single universal standard and that they know what it is.
Mm,
And it's a mix. I gave you another article. Like it's a mix. There are some subjective elements, but there are some very objective elements. And counting the number of operations and operands in a method absolutely makes a difference. So I would talk about simplicity being the structural simplicity,
yes,
objective, countable
which is
thing.
kind of a version of it's a version of cyclomatic complexity. It's a
Yeah,
type
but well, cyclomatic is
it's a
more about
generalization.
the
Yeah,
number
right.
of
It's just,
paths, which I include. But also, I think that the thing that we have to think about is that when I'm just going to readability, and I started reading about it in general, they said two of the major things were typography, which is like, okay, well, a lot of our programming languages have standards. We just throw it into the standard, let it reformat. And the other one was familiarity.
right.
And I thought, oh, that's brilliant. And definitely, if you've seen 1,000 versions of something, you memorize the idiom, you recognize it on sight.
Oh
When
my
that
gosh.
recognition is accurate,
Oh my God.
you do see
That's
that
the devil.
paragraph
That is the
and pick it up
devil.
instantly.
The devil in
But
programming is when you pick up a metaphor and you say, oh, this is a wonderful metaphor, I'm going to continue to use it. And then the stupid people change the metaphor somewhere and it's a different thing. And then your thing crashes and you're like, but no, it's supposed to do this other thing. And I really want to hit people.
yeah, classically, you get that counted for loop and they write the for loop conditions differently and you miss it.
Yeah.
Or they have a comma operator somewhere in one of those or two of those. And it's like, wait, this isn't my idiom.
Oh, geez. Yeah,
And if you miss that kind of thing, you think you know what it's doing and it's not. You have to
the
watch.
thing is that every piece of code you touch is like, I mean, the point is not that this guy is wrong. It's like he doesn't go far enough. Like I could not sit down and like type print F hello world and know what the heck's going on. And it doesn't mean I have to test it. It just means that there's stuff that I know about that could fail and there's stuff I don't know about that can fail. And I need to be aware of the depth there, what the risk level is.
Yeah. Oh, that's the whole world when you go to Java. Because you get, that's a classic thing, particularly Java. It's elsewhere too. I'm not just saying it's a language thing, but it's a culture thing. They have integration frameworks, right? So if you look at Spring Boot, it's an integration framework tying a bunch of other frameworks together.
Is it Spring?
Spring Boot.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and if you don't know the other frameworks, by the way, the documentation explains what they're doing by using it in terms of the other frameworks. So quite often to understand what you're doing, you have to understand what you would have done if you didn't have this one, but you had to deal with the thing underneath it. And then as you read it, well, you need to understand the thing that it was doing if you didn't have the framework and they use the language from the lower frameworks. So if you've been in Java for the past 25 years and you've always worked with Java and you've worked your way up with all of the different injection frameworks and all of these things, and all of the persistence frameworks, and the web frameworks and all of these things until you've got to Spring Boot. It's like,
Ruby,
wow,
yeah.
this really makes things a lot easier.
Oh yeah, because I'm
Ties
using,
them
I
all
know,
together.
yes, it makes it a lot easier. I'm using, I don't have to do all these other things and these dozen other frameworks that I have to use.
And if you never used any of those other frameworks, it is hell on earth. Good luck ever getting a handle on what you're doing.
Last
You
time
just
I
kind of have
did,
to take it for granted and learn it a little at a time for the next 5 years.
last time I did Java, I think it was over 20 years ago, and even then, it was just a nightmare mess of frameworks and stuff stacked on top of jar files, stocked. It was a mess. It was just a mess.
That cost me a gig once, by the way. We were going to do some work for Sun, and in the course of the discussion, somebody said something about Java, and I glibly and accidentally mentioned, well, it's not my favorite language, and they're like, you don't like Java?
Oh my
That
gosh.
was it. End of the interview there. That gig was not going to me. They wanted someone who was bought in, and I was clearly in reserve.
It continues to, this is the same topic as we think we know what the code does. Is we'll talk to people as coaches or as architects and go, yeah, we really need to build or maintain or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, okay, well, there's a bunch of different options. No, we're going to use this option. It's like, okay, and then we're doing it that way. And it's like, wait a minute. You don't want your problem fixed. You want all these constraints to be met, and then maybe your problem should be fixed, given that we have all these constraints met. Well, they don't necessarily go together, my friend. But we do that without thinking.
My first consulting company said, we don't know what the problem is, but we know that the answer, well, they said up until now, the nice thing was we didn't know what the problem was, but we knew the answer was CICS, COBOL, DB2, MVS.
It's
and
all,
whatever the problem is. And then they got mad. Why do people care about language they use? Why do programmers care about that? They shouldn't care. The only thing that's interesting is the business.
Yeah, I've been around with Bob on that. And so I believe that there are at least 2, maybe 3 problem-solving paradigms that have nothing to do with programming languages. There's the object-oriented analysis design paradigm, Code Jordan. There could be like a procedural iterative, like 1, 2, 3, 4 type thing, which COBOL basic. And then there's a pure functional version, which is you're writing things that have no side effects. And they're just different ways of solving problems. They have nothing to do with the languages. And so if you know all 3, you can use all 3 pretty much in any language you choose. Some languages are easier, some are tougher. But yeah, I think Bob was saying at one point, it was like, well, bless Bob's heart. He said, it's all just ones and zeros on there. Anyway, you're just running stuff on the CPU. I'm like, you are, and what you're saying is what I'm saying, which is it's the human part of this that's actually the important part. It's not the language or the ones and zeros. So yeah, I was going to say, I used to use Visual Studio for years and years, and it was fun back in the day before it got huge. Actually started with Delphi, then I went to Borland, C++, long journey. But Visual Studio Code came out, I guess, 10 years ago or so. I saw no need to go to it, so I kind of ignored it for a while, and then 5 or 7 years, I'm like, okay, I guess I got to pick this up. This will make an interesting project. I'll see how easy it is to use another tool with the same tool set I'm already using. It was a pain in the ass. Oh my gosh, it was awful. It was a terrible thing. And I told the guys in the Visual Code, the VS Code room, I'm like, guys, this doesn't work the way I think. This works a different way. And they were like, well, what the hell's wrong with you, Daniel? I'm like, I don't know.
Just learn the way we do it and conform. It'll be fine.
So I would bring up a video of like some guy showing off the blah, blah, blah thing in VS Code. And it's like he's doing his keyboard shortcuts and the mouse thing here. I'm like, well, why? Because, there's all these little things, these little tricks he knows. He's doing this thing with they can do this switch over here and on. But that's not part of the thing. I'm thinking about typing text in and hitting the little run button. And instead I got to do JSON, I got all this other stuff I got to do. And once I got the paradigm, I was like, well, this is a lot better. But why? Why would
It's
you?
got a lot of surface area, doesn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, and I've had times, so I love all the JetBrains toolkit, and I think that they do a wonderful job, and I love the refactoring and testing support in them. But it took me a while. If it doesn't understand your project right. You
Mm.
open up some new code. If it doesn't have the project right, and it's not as bad in some languages as others. Again, more complicated things like Java. There's a whole bunch of ways you have to deal with the configuration of the project to match the configuration of the IDE. Because if you get them off, then it'll work. You can compile and run it and test it, and everything's great. But in the IDE, it's marked as errors. And it's like, oh no, well, you're on the right interpreter, you're on the right compiler, but you're in the wrong API version of that compiler. You have to set it backward 3, and then you have to change your ant file, and then you have to change your idea, this page and that page and the other page. And when they all agree, then things should be fine. You should be able to check it in.
And everybody knows that, you know.
Oh, everybody knows that.
Oh, yeah.
Where have you been?
Yeah. And see, yeah, so I was complaining to guys, and they were just treating me like I just kind of fell out of an airplane, and just walked in from fresh from the street. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I know what the heck I'm doing here. I'm telling you, this is difficult to use. But to them, it was...
Gradle. One of those, I remember I wanted to just add the testing library. I just want to add JUnit. It's like, well, you know, what's the command to do that? Well, you can't do a command. You have to go onto the internet. And you have to go to the JUnit page, and you have to find this paragraph of XML, and it says paste this into your project file. And you copy that, and you open up the project file, and where does it go? Well, you're supposed to know how your project file goes. You should know the names of all the paragraphs, and if it isn't there, you should know which one to create to put it in, because you should just know this. It's a project file.
So I'm going to say something that may step on some of my friends' toes, and I apologize, but there's this mountain climbing syndrome here. And we really do not acknowledge this as much as we should. I spent a whole day getting Expecto, which is a testing package to work in F# a long time ago. And it's supposed to do all this cool stuff, and I spent, just hours. And I finally got it working. And I was like, wow, this is super cool. And I hadn't tested anything. I just got the thing working. And so I became a big fan of Expecto. It had nothing to do with what it did. It was tough to do, so it must have been important. But yeah, you get this thing where it's tough. It must be pretty cool.
We put a lot of value in where we put our efforts. I think that's one of those ego protective things that your brain does.
Yeah, really I get it
on that. And also you pop in and you take a look at something. Well, that doesn't make sense. You make a little change. It totally works now and everybody's happy with it, but it only took you 5 minutes and you didn't struggle. So you feel like you didn't do anything.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah, we the suffering value of work as opposed to the value of the work.
I'm of the mind that if you work 40 hours, you spend 39 hours and 45 minutes playing Donkey Kong or walking around and looking in the park for squirrels. In the last 15 minutes, you provide the same amount of value as the guy who worked 40 hours. You're actually more valuable than the other guy because he spent all that time making this complex mess that somebody's got to maintain. You had no time to do that. Whatever you did had to be pretty simple.
I do a common thought experiment when somebody's like, hey, so-and-so was reading web pages. And it's like, well, first off, he was probably learning how to do something that you asked him to do. But let's ignore that for a minute. What if you had a guy in your team and for 3 weeks out of every month, he sat around, he drank your coffee, he ate your donuts, he played video games. And then sometime in that last week, he did something that made you $1 million.
Yeah. Oh, God,
would you fire him?
Yes. And 99% would say yes.
Because a lot of people have said absolutely, because he could have made us $1 million every day.
Yeah, they don't get it. It just doesn't.
It's like, you don't realize he makes you $1 million every month if you don't fire him.
The only thing I would add to that as a PM, or I'm not going to say Scrum Master, but as a PM, is that if I have somebody that good, continue to do whatever your magic is. Whatever you got to do, continue doing it. But it'd be really cool if I can bring a junior guy just to play with you with the games or whatever, because I want some of that goodness to go over to him.
Yeah. How do we start to tap that we need to get some osmosis. We need to need some induction.
Just stand right next to him wherever he goes.
Induction off of that.
That's the only thing I would add to that, because I find the more time I spend in BigCorp world, the more lost I get when it comes to actual value delivery. Because when you're in a large group of people, you need to appear that you're providing value. You don't really need to provide value. And
You just have to pass the test they're running.
the tests are running, and whether it's one test or a million tests, actually the million tests would be better because
You know,
more work involved.
there's a bunch of people who kept their jobs because the only test that Elon ran was how many commits do you make a week? How many lines of code?
I think the genius that Musk brought here, and I wish I could teach it, is that you have an acceptable test external to the system, controlled by somebody else. Focus on the test. I don't hear about the framework, don't hear about the language. I don't want excuses. And what he realized, and I'm not this person, is that very intelligent people will bullshit themselves. And so if you're not careful, 99% of the people you deal with will come in with some story about, well, you know, back in 2007, we tried this with it. And it's, can you make the test pass? And so you kind of have to keep going back to, can you do that? Because people will just wander like kids in like a candy store, kind of wander around. You really need to sort of say, focus on the test. And
we've also disproven the test of lines of code per week too. That's been long disproven. That's a poor employment test.
I had a friend of mine, I think it was Michael Feathers, who talked about doing a metric where you just look at the check-in, check-outs on GitHub to find which pieces of code had the most value. I think his theory was the more it was checked in and out, the more value it had. I would think maybe the more broken it would be. But it was a kind of interesting idea.
I've done a similar thing using some tools, Python and network hacks and different things to analyze repositories, but I was looking for something slightly different. What I was looking for was, where's in surgery? What are the modules that if I edit this one, I'm also editing these other three? 9 times out of 10 or 8 times out of 10. And then I thought, well, it's also interesting because these people were marking every commit had a ticket number in it. And the ticket was phrased in such a way that you knew if it was a defect or a user story.
Okay.
It actually had a prefix on it. So I'm looking for which of the files has the largest number of defect commits in the past 6 months. And when I found those and I opened them up, pretty much across the board, unless there was also a lot of refactorings that are going on, across the board, it would be the biggest, ugliest God class with the highest cognitive complexity and the worst. So it's like, find your most edited files.
Yeah. The mistake here is you go in and fix the one thing they ask you and you go, oh, I don't want to touch anything else because dude, grow up, grow a pair, get into dang code and fix it. If you're not a programmer, if you're not fixing stuff, and by fixing, organizing stuff in a better fashion.
And of course, the classic statement is, everything you do should be to make next month better than last month.
When I got into pure functional programming, at first I did it like I was doing OO programming because I thought it was just another version of bits and bytes. I finally realized that no, there's actually a thing with lambda calculus and all that, blah, blah, blah. It's a different type of problem solving. And whereas when you do OO or procedural programming, you're looking at what I go to store, buy groceries. You're looking at a list of things. I've got a grocery cart. So you're organizing thoughts in your head and putting them on to the code. In my opinion, if you do FP right, you don't need variables. I swear to God, I know it sounds crazy, but I would start any problem I could start with. I would start cleaning up, and the code would go, and I'm like, I just got one big line of stuff, and I don't care what's in there because I don't ever need to maintain it. It's all data driven, and there's nothing to do. There's no side effects. How could I maintain it? It's like maintaining SQL. It's either SQL or not.
And using immutable data types whenever possible, and actually typed. The sad thing is people say, oh, you have to have typed language because that prevents all of your errors. And it's like, well, frankly, if you have primitive obsession, your typed language isn't doing crap for you.
No, you're looking. Well,
it's not making your programming faster. It's not making your IDE smarter. It's not doing any of that for you if you've got primitive obsession. But
you and I differ a little bit because I do something called incremental strong typing, which means that there are places I want to really strong type things and there's places I don't, and I vary that around a bit.
Yeah. And that's all a matter of taste and judgment and, of course, experience. And
I believe there's some architecture you can learn. Like I said, the problem solving method is really important. Using static methods, using immutable variables, if you're going OO or procedural, that will make you think better about what you're doing.
So do you reckon that Chat GPT can do just as good a job as a developer?
I don't think people understand what the job of programming is. This sounds dumb, but I swear to goodness, I honestly don't think that most programmers know what the heck their job is. We talk about value, and there are people who go, well, and I've heard this recently. Well, you talk about value, but that's kind of esoteric. I work at the factory every day, whatever. So it's like, yeah, but that's still reality. Maybe did you do this article? Somebody did this article recently. It was like, you have to work in the real world and all that. I'm like, well, you do, but at some point, if you're not providing value, you're probably not going to be working.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And the idea that we should hide that from the line workers and keep it only up at the higher levels is a little ridiculous. Well, I don't need to be able to explain that to people who are just putting a bolt in a hole. You think they're putting a bolt in a hole. Have you gone into those? Have you seen the people running the floor? Have you seen the lean thinking? Have you connected with, and especially with programmers, we're not just writing for loops here, and it's not like just rewriting the for loops we've written 1,000 times before either.
Yeah. There's a good video essay
we'd know what.
A good video essay from a former Agile coach who worked for a year, I think, at Tesla. And his thing was how he learned to move from XP and Agile onto more of the Tesla method. But one of the things he said was, when you're building hardware in a factory, you're not building a product that is the hardware. You're building a compiler that compiles the product. And I was like, he's right. He's absolutely right. But it's just a kind of a mind bend to go, yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. You're trying to create a configurable system that can generate multiple versions of any product along those lines. And that's an order of magnitude greater. So when you're doing code maintenance, to your point, you're not just trying to get, the integer to not divide by 0. You're trying to say, what the heck is going on with math in my system? There's a general problem that you should be fixing.
Yeah. And I've done factory machines. I've done factory systems, and I have, you don't do that without being aware of what the factory people are living through and what they're dealing with and what they need from you.
I would probably go on more hardware. Key. If I had to do it over, it would have been more hardware-oriented programming, because that's some cool stuff they're doing there. You've got some hard physical limitations with the hardware, then you've got some soft stuff with the embedded code. The embedded controllers would be a really cool spot to be in.
My electrical engineers I worked with, we would be working on something, and I'm like, man, okay, let me think about that for a while. And they said, well, of course. Said if it was easy, we would have done it in hardware.
I was working with the last embedded bunch I worked with was a battle to teach them that they could actually mock up the hardware they were speccing out. It's like you can actually mock the hardware up and test it without having to do the board. And they'd actually done this loop where they go through the whole thing, and then they make the board, and it comes back, and like, no, yeah, that's too much time, guys. You got to make that loop fast, like an hour at the most. And it was just
HIL is nice. It's nice to have hardware in loop, but you can't always afford that. You need to get as far as you can without it.
If you've taken James's, just to plug James's stuff, taken James's TDD stuff, it's all embedded. And so he does stubbing out for just that type of work.
Yeah. James and I and Michael used to work together, and so James and I have a long history of that too.
So we're at about 5 minutes left. Tim, what have you been reading or watching this past week?
Oh, by the way, there is a show called The Residents. If you enjoyed watching Knives Out and Clue,
yes,
you will certainly enjoy The Residents.
We'll put this on my list for sure. Yeah.
We're on the 3rd episode. We're taking it our time. We watch it as we eat a meal together. I know you're not supposed to watch TV while eating, but screw that. And we do. And it's been hilarious. It's been really intriguing. And it's been just the characters. The characters are interesting too. So, and by the way, you will recognize so many of the cast member faces that sometimes you're just, oh, it's that guy.
That guy. Yeah, he's in everything. Yeah.
Oh, it's her. Oh, look, it's her. So it has a lot of different levels of joy in it that you'll appreciate.
I will do this. I will definitely. I use the TV as a noisemaker, the way people would use the radio. Times past, so I'll just turn and let it run. Hear people talk because I'm here by myself most of the time. And so I went back and
That's
did
how I use old B movies. I love to put on old B movies in the background that I'm not paying attention to,
Yes.
and use that as just like a space filler.
There's a
So I
warm
don't
feeling I
concentrate
get
too hard.
when I walk in the room and see a man in a rubber suit wandering because it's just like, oh wow, he doesn't look anything like a frog, but I could believe it. If I just thought hard, I may squint my eyes. I went back and watched The Pit, which was good the first time. It was good the second time. I still recommend it. And then I kind of ran out of stuff, so I'm rewatching The Expanse now. And I didn't get a lot out of it the first time around. It seemed kind of slow, so I'm going to give it another shot. I like the ideas that went over, but it did seem kind of slow in story development. So that's where I'd be at.
Sounds like fun.
So
I'm going to, by the way, I'm going to be trying to put together a talk on using XP and TDD with, everybody's doing this now, right? Everybody has a talk on XP and TDD with agents. I'm going to put one of those together. So that'll probably occupy much of my week when I'm not working on my new visa or my next job. So,
okay. Yeah, if you need to bounce ideas off somebody or let me know. I actually have some ideas to do LLM assisted program management, which is agentic as well, but it looks like a lot of work. And I don't want to do that. It's just you get it's like Charlie Brown the football. So I wrote this co-complexity thing 10 years ago and did this other. It's just at some point it's like, yeah, okay, well I could do it. I don't care. I don't have to show off. You guys just go have fun, whatever. I'll come back to you at some point. But I do think that there are certain roles. There are certain roles and goals and conversations that exist at the program product development level that we have not explored or quantified. And I have some ideas around that, and the agents are perfect to actually put fake people in those roles. But that's just maybe I don't know. The football is never there when you get there to kick it. It's never there. So I'm not.
You saw it very clearly on the run up.
Yeah, it was perfect. Yes, you can picture it in your mind. Oh gosh, yeah. Let's do the goodbye thing here. Well, there you go. By the way, I forgot to say the duck. Here's the duck. The duck back here. The duck. See the duck
back at the corner.
Yes. Yeah. There's the duck. Scan the duck. You come to the Discord room. Everybody's welcome. You're welcome to post articles. You're welcome to join in and talk if you feel like it or not. If you don't want to, no rules. I'm Daniel Markham. dbmarkham.com for my fiction fantasy stuff. We're here every week, and I will see you on the internet. Cool beans, my friend. Yeah, I try to, I was going to do this with or without anybody joining today because it's a loop. You do the hello, goodbye, and it's the whole thing. And I feel like more times I do the loop, the better I get at it.
Yeah. By the way, am I off screen for a reason? Am I ugly today?
Oh, Tim, I'm sorry. Gosh. Yeah, you couldn't see I'm so sorry. Yeah,
okay.
You were trying to look at that thing I brought up. You're like, oh, I can't see it. So I had to move you off screen and then you just kind of stayed.
That's okay. My mustache isn't right today. I've spent the day mostly on the couch. I've not been so well. My wife and I ate something that it affected her right away, but it took me a while to really kind of go to it. So
sorry.
But hey, even on a bad day, I'm happy to see you. Good to talk to you.
So you're going to be, you're saying you're doing this stuff all week? Are you going to be around next week or?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's kind of fun. I kind of keep my toes in programming since.
Maybe we'll get together and write some code for fun.
It's the retired mechanic who kind of drops by the shop. Oh, what are you guys doing with that engine there? And it's like you still have your heart in it. It's just you're not in the game as much.
My dad, when he had retired, went and bought an old car to work on because he was tired of working in the factory. Yeah, okay. Get to work on more engines. You're good at something. You like to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's a good corporate rule to learn when you do org changes, that people who are good at different things tend to go do those things whether those things are needed or not. So if you're good at PowerPoint, you do PowerPoints. Have a good one, Mr. Tim.
All right. We'll catch you later.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Okay, it's off, and then we stop the virtual camera. Stop streaming. See you guys later. And I stop.